Have you ever watched tens or Asuna pop off in ranked and you felt like, I could do that too? And then you load into your own match and make the exact same mistakes you always do. Me too. So imagine building a Valorant coach that scans every frame you've ever played and tells you exactly how to level up, and then tracks your progress along the way. Now imagine dropping 100 grand to bring it to life. Well, that's exactly what I did. I'm Tim Young, and in my last video, I shared why I bet over 100 grand of my own money on my dream AI Valorant coach, Training Arc. In this video, I'm going to tell you how we trained AI to understand Valorant gameplay and then show it in action. Because building an AI that understands Valorant gameplay turned out to be really, really hard. So let's start with the first big problem. I shared the concept for an AI Valorant coach online, and 24 people paid to be the first adopters. That happened back in December 2024. And right at that moment, I set myself two goals. First, make sure it actually worked. I set a lofty target of 90% accuracy. And two, finish the first build by the end of summer 2025. I thought 9 months was a reasonable goal until we actually started building it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. What exactly is Training Arc? Well, Training Arc is a dream I couldn't shake. What if you could upload your VODs into an AI that could break down your exact mechanics? What if it didn't just spit out a report, but could actually prescribe custom training designed by real coaches based on your own gameplay? And what if it tracked that progress over time so you knew for certain you were improving instead of guessing? Well, turns out you can. And it was way more work than I imagined. Okay, 9 months on the clock and doubts crept in immediately. Like, is this really gonna work? Is the money I'm putting into this, is it just gonna turn into smoke? Choosing a model is something in and of itself. So most of the people watching this video have used an LLM before, something like Gemini or ChatGPT. Those are huge, huge models. They've ingested a ton of material to try to understand the world better, which is why they can give you good answers when you ask them questions. Those are not models that are really usable for Training Arc. An open source model is different. We can take it, and if it works well, we can also tune it and make it a better version of itself. And so it actually took us several tries. Our first couple tries didn't work out. One model we tried out is vision language model. It can do something like, oh, did you shoot a bullet or not? It's not good deciding whether your peak was good or bad. Like, it cannot do something that complicated. It turned out that it really didn't work well at all. How are we gonna know if like future ones were gonna work, or how many are we gonna have to try until we figure out one that's actually gonna be a good fit for us? So we tried the second model. And so it was supposed to be better because it was going to output exactly when in a clip certain things happen, which is something that's useful for what we're trying to do. And so we load it up and we try to set it up, and it's also not a good fit. It's hard to set up. It's not very good at watching Valorant. Are we just going to have to test like 50 models and then just see if none of them work? And so we tried the third model. To my immediate relief, it's a way better fit. It's working well. It can understand the game better. It was easy to set up. It was a huge relief. And then from there, just because it was a better model didn't mean that it was working well at the start. It wasn't great. Crouching is probably one of the hardest things for computer vision to see. It was getting it right about 7% of the time, which is not good. Shooting, it was only around 30%. So better, also not very good. These would not get you a passing mark anywhere. That's where we had to roll up our sleeves. We had to learn a little bit about data annotation. So what data annotation is, if you tell the machine learning model what it's seeing and it can learn from your categorization, it can learn way faster. Think about it this way. If you were to do a math test and then you just got it back unmarked, would you really know what to do with it? Maybe if you saw 1,000 tests over time, you might figure out what the right answers are and what the wrong answers are. But it's immensely helpful to you to know which things you got right and which things you got wrong. We can tell them this is what happened in the clip, and the model, when it watches the clip, can go, oh, That's what happened, and now I understand. And then we did 16 hours of data annotation, choosing clips and saying, this is a crouch and this isn't a crouch. And then we took all of that, we uploaded it and refined the model, and then we ran it again. That's where the moment of truth came. I was super excited because it finally came through. We moved from 7% to about 70% on crouch. We moved from 30% to 90% for the hit rate, moving, and shooting detection. It was like a huge sigh of relief that, one, data annotation worked, but two, more importantly, that we were going to get to where we needed to go. That if we could solve this initial hurdle, that future hurdles were going to be solvable as well. It was going to take more work than we had thought, but that's okay. As long as we can figure it out, we can move forward. So let's see it in action. So here we are. I've uploaded 5 VODs so far. And for each VOD, we've got you analyzed based on your gunfights, how many there were, and whether they were good or bad. As we click in, then you can kind of see the analyses for each of these sessions. So if I click in here, it tells me, 16 of 23 gunfights. I crouch sprayed in 3 of them. It gives me a clip. And so as I go through this, I'm like, okay, why do we have such a long clip? Why are we identifying this as a gunfight? And so there's things that we need to refine here. It's like not quite yet where it needs to be. It is displaying how many I did this and moving while shooting. These are helpful, but then this one's missing the clip. So these are things we're trying to work through and get better. And it's just not where it needs to be yet. And so we need to be able to improve this before we deliver it to people, because I want this to be in better shape for it to be useful for a user and useful for your time. I think these numbers are a little high, so I think we do need to look at our clustering. How are we defining gunfights? Because 45 seems like a lot unless this was a atypically long game. So these are things that we're still improving. This is where it is working. This is not all a scam. I'm trying my best to stay patient with this process and get it to a point where I know it'll be useful for you and it can be helpful for you in this Valorant improvement journey. Oh my gosh. So I can't believe I didn't think about this before, but I think I may have just figured it out. I think this will solve it, and it's going to make so many of these things come together when I didn't know if they could. So I've got things I got to do. I got to try it out and test it, but I think it's going to work. If you want to learn more, subscribe and join the waitlist, and we'll be in contact when the beta launches.